This call is now being recorded.
याच्यामध्ये मला खुर्च्यावर टाकून दिलं. थंडच पाणी आंघोळ करते मी. खायची कधीचे काय डब्यामध्ये घालून राहता ते पितात ते खाता खाली टाक भाजी काय तर लिमिट राहतात खाण्याचं की काहीतरी.
ते माझी बॅग घ्यायची ऑफिसची बॅग नको बॅग घेण्यासाठी
नको कशाला
तुझी ते कापडाची पिशवी घेऊन घेते कॉटन ते ठेवले बरोबर कर लवकर लवकर आवरात पडला.
Welcome to the webinar. Please stand by. The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
If there's any questions, let me know. So, Don, if your practice are still doing, let me know. Others? Yes.
Sir, one question, sir.
Yeah, please tell me.
Sir, while I was setting the permissions in the cluster, it was saying cluster access control is available only in the premium SKU.
Could you please mail the screen instruction?
Sure, I'll do that.
Today from Paris. Let's understand. concept of data bricks with data lake. Then we'll go for the comparisons. Well, so here we go. We start now. So are you ready, everyone? Yes. Hope you are ready with your observation notes.
Yes.
Start out. Others, hope you are ready with your observation notes.
Yes, sir.
Right. Start our session now. Let's understand how to work with the concept of data lake with data bricks. Let's see. And then after this example, we'll go for the comparison. Python versus Scala comparison. A simple process. Let's understand requirement. How to load data from Azure Data Lake. It is called ADLS, Azure Data Lake Gen 2 to database. Let's understand the implementation steps. We need to first read from data lake or extract from data lake, mount to DBFS, data lake storage to DBFS. From there we create a data frame, temporary view. This is from the second example, second notebook example. Data frame creation, temporary view creation. Perform aggregations and write the result. Write the result into an Azure SQL database. So if 1 and 2 are something to here. Remaining from the earlier example. Let's observe it carefully. Simple process. Let's do it, the example. Then we go for questions. Hope you are happy with your observation notes. Please make sure we maintain our own observation notes. Let's start. Please check your mind. Firstly, so here is our example plan. Firstly, we need to create a storage account. The storage account is of type. Storage account is of type. ADLS. Azure Data Lake Storage. Okay. Azure Data Lake Storage is a special type of storage account. Azure Storage account. So here we go, just in case. Let's understand. Log into Azure account. Home page, create resource. Azure storage account. Specify the resource group. Account name. Advanced. Enable data lake storage. So here it is, storage account. Let's go to home. Let's create resource. Click on storage account. Click create. Your subscription will be free subscription. Resource group can be anything. storage account name. Okay, document the storage account. Region can be anything. And go to advanced. Data lake storage. This one. ADLS Gen 2. Go to advanced. Data lake storage Gen 2. Enable. And review plus. Storage account created. Next. Click on the storage account left side container. Click on storage account left side containers. Well, so here we go. Let the storage account get created. Then go to left side. We see something called container. Once you go to the storage account resources, there will be something called container. Let's wait for a few moments. Yeah, go to resource. Left side you see containers plus container. Give some name. I'll say storage container. Click create. Go to the container and we need to upload the required file. Click upload. We'll upload the file. Sales data file. Okay, so this will be the input for our node. The file is ready. What we did? Storage account, container, and file. Now right click the file, generate SAS. This gives you an access. Okay, so here it is. Click on generate SAS, shared access signature. Shared access signature. So right click generate. And we need to specify the permissions, read, write, etc. In our case, we are supposed to read the data. Read this CSV file data in database notebook. So permissions would be read permissions and give start and end. Give some start and end. Click generate SAS token. Generate SAS token. And here it is. Copy to clipboard. You got your SAS token ready. So storage account, container, right? And from container, we got this file also, file path. See that is a URL, right? Storage account, container, and the file path. You got the file path ready and SAS key ready. Back to our notes. Storage account, container, file, and generate SAS. SAS stands for shared access signature key. Okay, document the key. Next, you also have the file path. We documented the file path as well. Here it is. Then step 2. This is for the source. Step 1 is for the source. Step 2 is for the target. Azure SQL Server, database, firewall. So step 2, it is optional. You can reuse Azure SQL database from earlier classes. Okay. Or create a new one. Either of them. I just reuse the existing one from the earlier classes. Next. From Azure portal, launch Databricks workspace. Okay, and ensure your cluster is running. Ensure that your cluster is running. If in case you don't have the cluster, create one. It should be single node cluster. From Databricks workspace, plus new node. Select Scala and specify the below code. Here you go. What this code will do? It is only defining variables. Well, storage account name, container name, SAS key name, and finally integrating everything together, config. Just like URL. Earlier classes have URL, same way here it is. Next. So for this purpose, I take this information to my notepad, change the values, give account name, container like this, container name, and this SAS key value. Here it is, complete SAS key value sometime. And config equal to fs dot azure dot SAS file system dot azure dot SAS. Fixed, we need to by heart this format. Container dot storage account name dot block dot 4 dot windows dot fs dot azure dot SAS dot container dot storage account name dot block dot 4 dot windows dot. This will be the configuration you are. Okay, so this will go to the first cell Go to Databricks. I'll say, for example, Scala quick create. Make sure the cluster is on, should be green, and supply the variables. We did not establish any connection, just define total 4 variables. Okay, you get the output like this. Command took 5 seconds. As usual, I'll say plus symbol. Now, once we have this variables ready, now we are supposed to mount. Mount means to get the data into DBFS. Truly speaking, it's not really loading the data into DBFS. It's not complete data load. Only part of it, only an index will be loaded to DBFS. Because usually data lake is used to store huge volumes of terabytes of data. Here we are not really reloading entire data into DBFS, not at all. Just like some kind of in-memory process, something like that. Here we are having some amount of index data loaded to DBFS. So dbutils.fs.mount, one of the Databricks utility called fs.mount, file system.mount function, and source. Source would be, we need to specify container name is there, right? str container. This path is there. Simply say the path. This one. In this path, you see container. View the container. Okay, and account name. Account name dot blob.o.windows.net/ your path, sales data path. Back to our notes. Here it is. There's something called web access path. It would be in this format. Container at the rate of storage account.blob.windows.net/file path. So config value is different. Web access path is different. Next. Once we have this information ready. Okay, next step. Let's continue. We need to define data frame. Well, data frame equal to spark.read. Directly we can say CSV or dot format, anyone. I'm using dot CSV. Data frame is created from the mounted path. This path can be anything. /MNT should be static as it is. This my file is there, right? This is an auto-created mount path in DBFS. We'll see command to list all paths, all content in DBFS, including sample files, sample paths. Remember MNT, mount point. File name can be anything. Well, data frame, option, infer schema, and CS like this. Then display of data frame. So first variables, then mount. Mount to the DBFS file. Name can be anything. That would be the source for data. Next, with this information, here we go. We are writing our observation notes. Once we get this mounted to DBFS, from there we have a data frame ready. Then next step, as usual, we have transformation. For now, specified columns. You don't want all columns from data frame. You would like to have one particular columns, like data frame dot select. Same way yesterday, you remember, data frame dot renamed columns. Now, from here, what I'll do, I'll create a temporary view. Say create or replace temporary view. Once we create a view, we can easily perform further calculations, aggregations, etc. For example, yes, you are creating a view, a temporary view. Earlier, older classes, we created the aggregation, right? On top of temporary view, we had aggregation. If you remember the older classes, we got some aggregation on top of the temporary view, something like this. Now this output has to be returned to our SQL database. Okay, the output has to go to the database. Now what we do? We need to allocate the result of this query to a data. We need to assign the result of this complete query to a data frame. So here it is. We need to use 3 codes. In regular transact SQL, you know, 3 equal to 1. Right? 3 single quotes yield 1 single quote in the result. There it is 3 single quotes equal to 1 single quote in the result. Here it is 3 double quotes equal to 1 double quote in the result. I mean, here select the query should be inside 3 quotes. Now the question, why 3 quotes? Yes, it's a query. Query may include additional string values or character values. For example, where country equal to India. Right? Say for example, here there can be a where condition. Something like this, where country equal to India. So there is every possibility one additional double quote, transact SQL single quote, it's Spark SQL double quote. Must be understanding. So here this double quote value is inside another double quote. So we require an escape sequence. So 3 double quotes required. So Spark.SQL, 3 double quotes query. Now Spark.SQL is going to run the query. You get one result. That result is given to this data. Your data frame. And we know how to write it to the destination site. For example, here is our URL. I just make sure I format the URL correctly. I go home and For example, Azure SQL server. This is the server. Okay. And database name. It's Azure SQL database. This case it's sensitive database name and username password. No extra spaces. So this is for the target, right? So what we are doing first, extract, mount, create data frame, then display. Display is completely optional. We can verify the data frame. New data frame equal to existing data frame dot select. Only particular values you are selecting. Even this is also optional here because we are more concentrating on aggregation. So create a temporary view so that we can easily perform aggregations. That aggregated result should be given to a data frame. URL, then yesterday's class. URL, import, like yesterday's journey. You got something called imports concept. So here it is. Imports with the username and password. Yesterday we did the same for writing the content. Finally, what we do here, there is one AGG data frame, right? So that data frame should be used to write to JDBs. Right into JDBs this way. Once you write the same from yesterday's class, after we write, what we did again read. Sync means the destination. We are reading it. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So nothing new, just from yesterday's class. Here it is where another data frame. Path.read.jdbs of URL and whatever table you create, the table name you use and read it. So one for writing and other one for reading. Let's see. So these activities from yesterday's class. Spark.sql with the required aggregated query from last week classes. Mounting is new here. Now the question arises. If it is Python, I was requesting you to go through the notes carefully. I gave this notebook also. If it is Python, you got URL and properties. That's it, straight. If it is Scala, what we did yesterday, URL has username, password, and separately something called java.util.property. It also has username, password. Right? So we are mentioning the username password 2 times. Yes, one for worker node connections and other one for driver node connection. Main difference. If it is Python, worker nodes and driver nodes can happily share this URL. If it is Scala, you're understanding the main difference. If it is Scala, worker node connections, driver node connection. We have to manually mention the driver class. com.microsoft.sql server JDBC. It is specifically the driver class, and that's how JVM works. Mainly from JVM architecture, we have the property separate worker node, driver node concept. There is no involvement of JVM, no JVM at all in Python. So single connection. Back to our notebook now. So what we need to learn, what we need to do here. Observe carefully. Firstly, storage account. Then container. Okay. Make sure. Yes, here it is. Hope you practiced and went through the notes from yesterday's class. There you see JVM. I'm referring. Refer to the notes yesterday. It should be easier. Storage account created, container created, and ESP file available. From there we got the SAS. Very important, something called web access format. WASPS. Okay. Now what does it actually means? There are two different file systems we need to understand. One is WASPS, another one called AVFSS. Okay. There are two different access points. This stands for Windows, WASPS, Windows, Azure, storage, block. Then what about this one? AVFSS. It actually stands for Azure Block File System. What are these two actually? There are two different ways to perform the data activities. Okay, and this ABFS is mainly required. Remember, DBFS is different, ABFS is different, entirely different. It's mainly for more than 1 terabyte data load. And this is for data loads less than 1 terabyte. 1 terabyte data as per Microsoft recommendations. And what makes the actual difference between them? Yes, there comes something called TLS, terminal layer or terminal level service encryption. The data would be encrypted more secure here. More DBUs would be invested. Fabric units will be invested. Either ABFSS or WASPS is the same property or the same format. Just like this, I need to connect a website. I use HTTP, right? HTTP or HTTPS. Same thing. This is like HTTPS. Encryption is involved. This is something like without any HTTPS, just HTTP, something like that. Okay, now these two are called as Web Access Path APIs. You call them as Web Access Path APIs. So two different APIs are involved. Now, you take Tableau, Power BI. Yes, they support both. they support both. In case if you are opting for something like Hortonworks or something called Hadoop Insight, in case if anyone already working on HDFS or HD Insight or even Cosmos database, they support first WASPS. Then what if the data size is more, say greater than 1 terabyte? They read 1 terabyte data at a time. This is not about the capacity of the storage. They're talking about data load capacity. 1 terabyte in one chunk, next terabyte in next chunk, like that. Something like we say TDS, okay? We said TDS, right? And something called as TDS packets in regular Microsoft SQL Server. For example, just simple, okay, simple and straight. For example, right? And we have something called select from. Simple terms. This messages. And there is something called client status. I think it's still going on. Long amount of data. Right? Say some 3 lakh rows. Assume, for example, there is something called client statistics. Let me show you just in simple terms, okay? Easy to learn, easy to understand. We'll go for questions after some time. Let's stay tuned. There is something called TDS packets, tabular data stream packets. Here you see 6,000 packets from the server. Why 6,000? 16,000. Why 16,000? Because some 3 lakh rows were involved. Some 2,92,000 rows are involved. Each packet has certain limit, a few MB of data. Same way, it's about data load capacity. We can easily manage it after. We can increase or decrease the TDS packet size. Same way, here also, they are talking about the packet. The APIs which are used to control the packeting. 1 terabyte data load, WASPS, mainly for HD Insight, Cosmos, Hortonworks, etc. And greater than 1 terabyte, it can be used anywhere, everywhere. Now I am using one web access path API called WASPS. Just remember. So while mounting to Databricks file system, or in case, if in future you are mounting the data into a Cosmos database, or Hortonworks, or Hadoop Insight, either of them we have to use one of these 2 access paths, remember. Just like accessing a website. My browser has to access a website, I use HTTP. A DBFS or Cosmos database or Hortonworks or HD Insight, they need to access data of data lake. They use one of these access paths. I repeat once again. Browser needs HTTP to access the content of a web server. Same way, your DBFS, Databricks file system, or Hadoop Insight, or Hortonworks, or Cosmos database, even Power Grid also. Power Grid, they require this access path API to connect to data lake. Remember. Now, we'll again touch base with this point. We need to once again touch base with this point when we talk about the end-to-end integration. This arrow mark I said, right? ADLS to ADB, Databricks. When we talk about the end-to-end integration, at that time again, we need to touch base with that. This arrow mark requires web access path API. Now I'm showing you an example for WASPS. At this time, I will show you an example for ABFSS so that we are understanding both. Let's stay tuned. So Here it is once again. Storage account ready, container ready, path ready. From there, yes, here it is. Just make sure you get the variables: storage account name, container name, and SAS value. You remember a few minutes back, right click, uploaded file, generate SAS. And configuration also ready. Then mount. Here is a path, like a website requires HTTP, browser requires HTTP to access a website from web server. Here, the DBFS requires one access path API. WASDS, alternative, APFSS, remember. Azure block file system. Now, just like HTTP path, WSDS container at the rate of account.block.4.windows. Mount file, whatever name you wanted, and configuration. Let's get this information and execute the notebook. Remember, we are using Scala notebook. Next, then we are creating a data frame from DBFS. Simple and straight. Here it is. Storage mounted to DBFS. This requires access path API. From DBFS, what we are doing? Yes, we are creating a data frame where inside the notebook. Notebook has some memory, right? Notebook has certain processor and memory. That is the same memory space where we actually create and store data frame. So we are loading the data to the notebook data frame memory. Now let's run cell. Next, once we have the data frame ready, then here we go. We can report only a few particular columns, right? We can report few particular columns, but more importantly for us, we are creating a view. The display statement I included in the notes is only for our understanding purpose. We are more interested towards creating a view. Let's create a temporary view so that we can happily perform aggregation. So here it is. I'll just remove where condition for now. And here we go. Get aggregation content. I was telling 3 equal to 1. Right? I was mentioning sometime back. Aware of sequels over happy, no problem, just in case. Select triple quote ABC. Gives you single quote in the result. 3 equal to 1. In Transact SQL it is single quote. In Spark SQL it is double quote. Now for escape sequence. Once your aggregated content is ready, your data frame will be ready. Once your data frame is ready, next item, we need to have one URL for worker node and driver class, driver node. Why like this? Parallel processing. Yesterday's class, I mailed you one Word document and requested you to read it carefully. There you see the main difference between Python and Scala. Scala works on JVM, Java Virtual Machine. I was referring to yesterday's class nodes. Yesterday's example. Yesterday's class, we got two different connection patterns. Why? One for worker node, one for driver node. Why? Your node, Java Virtual Machine, super fast. and more concurrency. So driver node, worker node should be authenticated, establishing the connections individually. So costly, faster, Scala, cheaper, simpler, Python. Less concurrency, cheaper. Cheaper in terms of DBU, Databricks units. The currency in Databricks. No JVMs were involved. Back to our notebook. So you got a connection pattern. Did your homework? Hope so. You did your homework. Went through the notes. It should be easier then. Let's make sure we provide the connection. Please give me a few moments time. Let me give the current connection. Next. Once you have the connection parameters ready, then finally what we do, dot write. Yesterday I was giving you some errors, if you remember, like 4066. Now we should get a question by yesterday. Is that error only for Scala notebook or even for Python also? Please check it out. No one asked me that question yesterday, so I am asking the question today. I was actually waiting for that question yesterday. I was showing you 4066 error, if you remember. Yes, I was showing it yesterday, and that was being shown in Scala notebook. Then what about Python notebook? Where Python also using JDBC? Please give it. Now, please practice once again Python notebooks, and while doing the Python notebook practice, the earlier classes, you try to provide invalid server and see if you get the 4066 error. Okay, give it a try. You give it a try. Now, write it and finally read it. Here it is. While reading, we cannot directly read. We have to first get it into a data frame once again. From this data frame, we can create another temporary view or directly display. How to display? You remember earlier classes, we used to have display of data frame, right? Display of data. Remember, we can also give it in here another temporary view for further aggregation. So we are writing the data to SQL database and reading it back. Only the aggregation data. Back to our diagram. And before that, one minor correction I have to do. So here it is. So what we did so far, we created data lake storage, container, upload file, generate SAS. Okay, next. Created server, database, firewall rules, and we are ready. Then Databricks, cluster, notebook. Inside notebook, I just mentioned this way for easy understanding. Inside notebook, source connection variables, mounting, data frame, temporary view, aggregation. Connection to SQL database, then write and read it back. So using Databricks environment as a mediator, using Databricks environment as an ETL component, the red box is the ETL component to extract data from storage and write it into SQL data. We also understood how to read it back. So this particular arrow mark is there, right? This arrow mark requires web access path or API we call it. This arrow mark requires JDBC. Remember this. So JDBC for writing, reading to and pro database. Web access path required for mounting the content. Okay, please make sure you go through it carefully. Hope you refer to yesterday's notes I mailed you. Now please go through the differences carefully step by step. Firstly, we identify the difference. We identify the difference with respect to data frame creation. See there? In Scala, we have var, var. If it is Python, no such var, right? To define variables and data frames in Scala, we got val, right? Val, this one, var, value. For variables, we have val. If it is Python, nothing like that. Directly defining variable or directly defining data. Now, sometimes I'm saying variable, sometimes I'm saying data. Why it is simple? If the variable has table data, it is called, for example, step 2, step 3. These are variables, val, just like URL, just like my properties, my DM and transform. Any variable that is used to store table data, simply say table variables. We call them as data frames. Remember, you practice these items carefully and let's have a friendly mock test tomorrow so that you can plan your weekend with the required effort. What do you say, everyone? Yes, please. Can we have a friendly mock test tomorrow, please?
Yes.
I'll wait.
Yes.
Yes,
Please, others, please respond.
Yes.
Please,
Yes. Yes.
others. Simple and straight, but yes, we need to buy hard the points, buy hard the new keywords. I truly understand. We need to do it very, very carefully. Tomorrow, what I will do is I will give a recap of Python notebooks and Scala notebooks and get one single line conclusion statement. Continuous. Hope it is clear. Tomorrow's agenda. Single line conclusion statement. When to use which? After revising the things, okay? We'll do it. Before that, I need your support. You will refer to the notes, by heart all the terms. Please, let's have a friendly mock test tomorrow. Yes, everyone, hope it is clear. Please. Yes.
Yes, sir.
By heart.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
By heart.
sir.
And the running notes also I will send it today, just in case. There are new things we need to learn from this notepad notes. I'll call it as class notes. Just go through it. The ABM. Leave with this example to me. I was showing you one diagram, right? End-to-end integration diagram. At that time, we'll be taking this information. Give it to me. Make sure you just focus on whatever we are learning now. Just not miss it. Emails and just now. Any questions that you know, I'll wait. Thank you. It is a bit responsive. Really appreciate. Some attendees I'm asking, like, please respond. Please respond. No response there.
Yes, we have now.
Yes.
Yeah. You will ask me questions. I want to respond. Some questions. Please. I need to respond. You need to respond. That is what I asked. Please. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So how to handle multiple files, sir?
We'll see, sir. We'll see. I said, like, I was giving one end-to-end integration diagram. Right there, we are going to have container. We are going to create a container. And let me give the answer to your question straight. Here it is. While performing this mounting activity, please check. Please check. And just do the
Muted.
well here it. Question: how to handle multiple files? Remember, all files should be of same format. All files should be of same format. There are multiple files, right? So every file will auto create a table. So simply say tables like this. This is for mounting. This is for mounting. Okay, remember. Next. So note ready, right? We are having the mount point in this way, or I'll just take it here. Today's class. Question: how to work with multiple files? All files should be in a single format, and you don't mention this location. There should be a slash at the end and a container. A container will also have a folder. You can say folder slash. If it is file, no slash after file. If there is no file, then folder slash or simply account slash. Container is mandatory. You're having multiple files, right? You're having multiple files. One mount point is happy, but here, while getting the content, remember to include all the information into one single mount point only. Remember that. We need to get the data into one single mount point only. I mean, we cannot really split few files into one mount point and few other files into another mount point. We cannot do that. Not possible. Okay, that is one small caution we need to have. Well, any more questions that you know, please? I'll wait.
So in Scala, you have variable definition, right? How can we differentiate if it's for data frame or normal?
Yeah, it's by written value only. It is a regular string variable or value variable. If that variable is resulting from another data frame or the variable is resulting with table data, right? For example, you are loading table. And we say loading a table results in a table. In such a case, it is taken as a data frame automatically.
That's the reason when you ran the query in the notebook, it was saying the data frame was successful. So it is identifying that.
Exactly, based on the value, the written value, it is identifying automatically.
Okay, and just to refresh. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, only in Scala, even in Power Query also same concept. Power BI, Data Factory, Power Query also same concept. They auto detect the value. We need not mention any types of it.
And just to refresh my memory, the temporary views are created in the DBA system.
Exactly, you're right, correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Next question, please. I'll wait.
Here you mentioned better at cost and better at speed. How is that? How does that work? For Scala and so on.
If it is Scala, there is JVM involved, Java Virtual Machine. So more faster, more concurrency. So cost is involved. Speed and cost, both are more in Scala. In Python, no JVM. So the degree of concurrency is comparatively less. Because it uses lesser amount of GPUs, lesser processor, lesser memory. That's the main difference. Right, yesterday's notes, there is a small table. Please have a look at it if possible. There is a small table. I included yesterday's class notes. Please check it possible. There you see the comparison. Scala, JVM, more resources. Whereas Python, less resources. No JVM, no main difference technically. Next question, please. I'll wait.
So, Sai, this particular thing, when you create a variable of table kind of data, it's a data frame, right? So we use display and then data frame name. So it displays me the data, what it holds. Similarly, when we are creating here in the step 2, well, MyDF. So let's say we are not proficient enough. We want to see the output it's generating. Because of this concatenations or like whatever values I'm passing, is there a way to just see the output of MyDF? Like this display doesn't work in MyDF in the variable.
I got it exactly. If display is at just like select star, okay. We cannot say select star from A, right? In a regular data.
Correct. Yes.
There is no live debugging environment or debugger as on date in Databricks notebooks. As of we may get it in future, but as of now we don't see any live debugger. Just like Control F9, we don't have that option right.
Okay.
So what we can do is at the time of creating the notebook itself, it is giving the result, right? Let me show you. Let me show you this way. It is giving you the value, like whatever value it is holding, it is giving you. But the only way we are able to, verify. We cannot say display of URL. It won't work. Or display of config. It gives you error message.
Yes.
Why error? Because it's not a tabular data, right? It's not a data frame.
Yes.
Yes.
Understood.
Okay. So no control F9 kind of debugging as well. Yes, next question please. I'll wait.
Now, yesterday in Power BI, you asked to check that if we can see the data frames and views. That we are able to see table, sales data table, but I ran that views and it was not showing. I want to confirm if it is correct or is
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Correct. Yes. It only gives tables, not temporary views. Reason: temporary view is available only for that notebook, not for other notebooks. Temporary. For the context, we say context. So maybe I think there are some security issues because of which we are not able to see it outside the scope of that particular, workspace environment. But yes, your observation is correct. Temporary views are not accessible outside the workspace. Okay? Neither Power BI nor Data Factory nor other environments would be able to access the temporary views. We need to have tables. Tables are mandatory.
Sir, so just
I couldn't unmute you. Please reconnect again. Sadasi Wajid, please unmute yourself. I cannot get control of your mic, please. If you have any questions. No questions is okay. Next question, please. I'll wait.
just a vague questions I hear, so when the temporary views are only available for that session, this kind of this must happen that
Unmuted.
sometime in production, like your ETL is something like this, that there is one notebook and the output of after that is executed, the second notebook should execute. So whatever we have
ADF.
ADF.
One notebook output can be happily integrated or dependent on another notebook. If one notebook is success, then execute second notebook. If not, execute third and fourth notebooks together. ADF will do.
Mainly data frames or temporary views what we created in the first one cannot be referred in the second one. There must be some proper.
Yes, we cannot refer to them directly. But there is something called as a stage property in Data Factory that can share the content from one notebook to another. Staging.
Okay, just like how we had in SSIS also we have. Okay.
Okay, we'll do it. We'll do.
And one last thing is, like today we discussed about the block storage, right? So you actually enable the hierarchy namespace like in the advanced properties. So are we going to discuss about ADLS versus block?
Yes, yes. Yeah, you have separate, sorry, storage separate.
Got it.
Thanks.
And the difference between SQL context and
Yeah, give it some time. Tomorrow I'll do. I said like tomorrow we are going to repeat the differences, right? And then come to a single line conclusion when to use. I'll take it.
Sir, for the temporary views that we created, I tried to do like a select start from default.temp view, and it did not work. So, like, where is that temp view being created?
I understand. It is in DBFS itself, but temporary, accessible only for the context of the workbook or worksheet. And we cannot really access it. We cannot see it. We cannot directly see it.
Sure. So one more question is like when you create a notebook, like instead of creating a Scala notebook, you open up or you select it as SQL and open it, and every time you have to like at least do like a percentile Scala or drop down and do Scala there, right? Is there an option we can like change the whole thing as Scala without going and creating another notebook with the language as Scala?
Here it is. Click and change. Default language
Oh, okay.
on top.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Fine, friends. Hope you received the mail, everyone. Please confirm, please.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Fine. Thank you. Please practice carefully. Let's have a friendly mock test tomorrow. Thank you, friends. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please practice.
thank you.
Thank you, friends. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.